Today is the day we start a brand new series on this channel, and it's not going to be anything too complicated, don't worry. But we're going to be predicting every match in the Premier League game week, and this is going to be something we do every week. So every Friday you can expect to see this video coming out, and right now we're just going to start off very simple and just give my predictions. But as the series goes on, we might spice it up a bit and get you guys involved at some point in some way, if you guys do like the video and the series. But yeah, I think that's all the explaining that I really have to do. Like I said, it's not too complicated. So let's just jump straight into these predictions. Starting off with Saturday's fixtures, and we have the 12:30 kickoff between Forest and Brighton. Now Forest are having an honestly incredible season, and they currently sit third in the Premier League, and they're the only team to beat Liverpool at all this season in the league. They are usually pretty solid at home, only losing twice this season, and have only lost one game in their last 9 Premier League matches. Brighton are having a very mixed season. Obviously, it's the first season under their new manager after Derby left, so maybe they're going to need a season or two to adjust, but they're not doing that bad. Brighton have lost just one game in 8 in the Premier League, and they do sit in 9th place, which is decent for a team like Brighton. And they are pretty decent away from home. You know, they've beat Man United this season. They've beat Newcastle away from home as well this season. And they're 2 difficult places to go. Forest, of course, did get battered 5-0 in their last game against Bournemouth. But I can see, you know, the way that Forest are playing this season, I think that's just going to be a one-off. And I can see them winning again at home against Brighton. So for this one, I'm going to say 2-1 Forest. Moving on to Bournemouth and Liverpool, and this one could actually get really, really interesting. Bournemouth have been absolutely incredible this season, especially after losing Solanke in the summer, but Iraola has done a great job at Bournemouth, and you know what, fair play to him. Bournemouth are unbeaten in 11 games, which is incredible, and some of those results include wins at Man United away, and even drawing to Chelsea away. However, their last 2 games have been incredible, pumping Newcastle 4-1 and battering Forest 5-0, so you know, they've got to be full of confidence right now. Moving on to Liverpool, I mean, we really don't have to say too much, do we? I mean, they're smashing the league this season, and, you know, originally I thought they were going to struggle with Slot. You know, after Klopp's been there for so years, I thought it was going to take a while to adjust, but they've definitely proven me wrong. They've only lost 1 game all season, which, like I said, was to Forest in the Premier League, which was all the way back in September. And, you know what, they've scored 54 goals in 22 games this season, so they're just scoring goals for fun at the minute. Salah and Kluivert are both having incredible seasons, and I really do think this game's going to be close. I do think Bournemouth will score. You know, Kluivert's on amazing form. I know their other striker got a hat-trick. I can't remember the name of. But being at home, I do think they will score. But Liverpool should have enough. I mean, their squad is just, you know, their squad's unreal. They're full of confidence right now. So I'm going to say 2-1 Liverpool. Moving on to Everton versus Leicester, and this is a massive game at the bottom of the table because it's 16th versus 17th. David Moyes has, of course, returned to his holy land Everton, and you know what, he's actually done alright. He's got 2 wins in his first 3 games, including wins against Spurs on his first game back at Goodison Park and Brighton away. The only real injury concern is Dwight McNeil, who has been pretty decent this season, so they don't have too many injuries to worry about. Leicester did beat Spurs in their last game, which is massive for them, but they are in really, really bad form at the moment, winning just 2 games in 10 since Van Nistelrooy took over. They've got a couple of players out like Ndidi and Fatu, and I don't think that's going to do them any favours. They've also only brought 1 player in January, which isn't going to help you. And there was a rumour actually that Van Nistelrooy could resign because he was promised money and he's just not getting any. With Everton being at home, I think they will win here, especially, you know, the whole feel-good factor and the David Moyes is back. But I do think it will be a low-scoring one. Also, if Everton do win, I think they will be safe because they'll be 8 points clear of Leicester. So I'm going to back at Everton here, and I'm going to go for a 1-0 win. Moving on to another massive game at the bottom, and we've actually got Southampton versus Ipswich, who currently sit 19th and 20th. Ipswich are coming into this game with 3 losses in a row, but to be fair, they were hard games against Brighton, Liverpool and Man City, so this game's going to be massive for them. Connor Chaplin and Sammy Smodics are both out for Ipswich, which is a massive blow for them. But they also signed Ben Godfrey, Jaden Philogene and Julio Enciso in January, so it'll be interesting to see how they do. Southampton, let's be honest, are pretty much relegated. You know, they're 11 points from safety and they just need a miracle. And you know what, I also do think they will break Derby's record for the lowest amount of points in the Premier League. It just really looks like it's going to happen. They've only won 1 game all season and they don't really have any injury problems, but the squad just isn't good enough at all for the Premier League. If Ipswich win here, they will climb out the bottom 3, which is exactly what I think is going to happen. I do think the Ipswich fans will be up for this, and I do think they will drag them over the line. So for this one, I'm going to say 2-0 Ipswich. Moving a long way up north, and we've got Newcastle versus Fulham. Newcastle have been absolutely on fire again this season and currently sit in 5th place, and they've only lost once in the last 8 games, including wins against Villa and away wins against Spurs and Man United. Newcastle don't have any real injury problems, and Isaac and Gordon this season have been absolutely on fire, so Newcastle should be very confident going into this one. Fulham are on a great run themselves, only losing 3 times in the last 15 games, and have beaten Chelsea away and drew with Arsenal, Liverpool and Spurs all in that time. I really do think this game could be close, but when Newcastle are playing at home, you've always got to back them. And that's exactly what I'm going to be doing here, and I'm going to be saying 3-1 to Newcastle. Moving on to Saturday's final game, and we have Wolves versus Aston Villa. Wolves got a new manager in December after Gary O'Neill was sacked and replaced by Vitor Pereira, and he actually had a pretty decent start, beating Leicester and Man United and drawing with Spurs in his first 3 games. However, since then, they've lost 4 games in a row, scoring just once and conceding 10 times, and they currently sit in 18th place in the bottom 3. Wolves don't really have too many injury problems, but they do rely a lot, and I mean a lot, on Matheus Cunha, so it feels like he is really their only hope of scoring. Villa, they've lost just 1 game in the last 7 and will be full of confidence after beating Celtic on Wednesday night to, get into that Champions League knockout stage. However, there have been rumours that John Duran could go to Saudi Arabia and Watkins could leave to go to Arsenal, so it'll be interesting to see how they play out. Villa are only missing Onana, but I am sure they will be fine without him, and I'm backing Villa to get the 3 points here as they keep their hopes alive of another top 4 finish. 2-0 Villa. Moving on to Sunday's fixtures now, and we are starting it off with Brentford versus Spurs. Brentford aren't really on the best of form, winning just 2 games in the last 8, but they are pretty reliable at home, winning 7, drawing 2 and only losing 3. And Bremo is having another great season with 14 goals and 3 assists, and it just looks like he's getting better and better by the season. And I do think he's going to be massive in this game against Spurs. Spurs, on the other hand, where do we even start with Spurs? They've picked up just 1 win in their last 11 games and sit in 15th place on 24 points. And to be honest, they are very lucky that the teams below them are awful, because in any other season, 24 points is relegation worthy. Now, to be fair to Spurs, they do have a very long injury list. They've got the likes of Brennan Johnson, Romero, Udogi, Solanke, Maddison, Werner, Vicario, all out. But they have been awful all season. I really do think the time is slowly coming to an end for Ange, and with the scenes after their loss against Leicester, once you lose the fans, then your time is pretty much over. Spurs really, and I can't state this enough, Spurs really need to win this game, but I can't see it happening at all, so I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. Moving on to another team that's been rubbish this season, and we've got Manchester United versus Crystal Palace. Man United have won just 2 games in their last 7 and sit in 12th place on 29 points, and to be fair, the whole season's been a shambles for them. They had all the issues with Erik ten Hag, and then he got sacked, and then Amorim is coming now, and apparently he's been upsetting the board and the players, and even the whole issue around Marcus Rashford. The whole club is just a complete mess at the moment. Now, Crystal Palace actually come into this with just 2 losses in the last 12, including some big results against, they drew against Man City and Arsenal. They even beat Spurs. Now, at the start of the season, Crystal Palace were awful, let's just be honest, and they looked like they were going to be in big trouble. But they have turned things around and currently sit in 13th place, just 1 place below Man United. Now, Old Trafford used to be a fortress when teams would go there. They used to be scared of playing Man United, but they've lost 6 out of their 11 home games this season. And to be honest, this game's going to be a really difficult one as well. I'm going to go for another draw, and I'm going to say 1-1. Moving on to the biggest game of the weekend. We've got Arsenal at home against Manchester City. Now, Arsenal are on excellent form right now, only losing 1 game in the last 12. But do sit 6 points behind Liverpool, playing 1 game more than them as well. Now, Arsenal have scored 10 goals in the last 5 matches and are the only unbeaten team at home this season, despite having Saka out for such a long time. Now, after going on such a terrible run, Man City are unbeaten in 6 games and beat Chelsea 3-1 in a massive game at the top of the table last time out. They have scored 16 goals in the last 5 matches, so they're going to be full of confidence despite having the players like Diaz and Doku out. However, I do really think that Arsenal's amazing home form is going to carry on here, and I'm going to say 2-1 Arsenal. Moving on to Monday Night Football now, and we have a London derby with Chelsea versus West Ham. Now, at the start of the season, Chelsea were very impressive and sat second for quite a while, but After just one win in the last 7, they're currently sixth now in the Premier League. They have scored 12 goals in the last 5 games, but the problem is they do also concede a lot of goals. West Ham, of course, have recently got rid of Lopetegui and replaced him with Graham Potter, so it is a return to Chelsea for him, and he's done okay since he took over. You know, he won 1, drew 1, lost 1. They have scored 6 goals in the last 5 games, but the problem is they haven't kept a clean sheet in 6, so I do think this game's going to be full of goals. West Ham have also got a few injuries. You know, the likes of Antonio, Bowen, Somerville and Fulkrug are all out. So this could be a difficult game for them. Chelsea do like to concede though. So I do think West Ham will score. But with Chelsea being home, I'm going to say 2-1 Chelsea. Now, for the last game, this game isn't actually until the 12th, I think. But it's technically part of the Premier League game week. And we've got Everton versus Liverpool. Now, this is obviously a rearranged fixture after the final Goodison Derby got postponed due to storm. And yeah, I think there's a real feel-good factor, like I said, around David Moyes being back at Everton. And this is going to be an interesting one. Like I said, you know, it's the final derby at Goodison Park. Everton are going to be up for it. Liverpool are going to be up for it. This is going to be a close one. I do think, you know, in a derby, anything can happen. You know, this game could quite easily be a draw. But you have to back Liverpool. They've been on incredible form this season, and I'm going to say 3-1 Liverpool. So yeah, guys, that is my predictions for this Premier League game week. Like I said to you, we're going to be doing this every week. Let me know if you guys are enjoying the series, and like I also said, we might find a way to get you guys involved. You know, maybe each week I'll do my predictions against someone, and if I lose, I can give away something, or you know, just something like that. Yeah, let's just see how you guys like the series, and then we can kind of change things and make tweaks if we have to. But yeah, if you guys did enjoy this video, then please do smash that like button and subscribe to the channel while you are down there. We are very, very, very close to 200 subs, so let's see if we can get that soon. Thank you guys so much for taking the time out of your day to watch my video. Leave any predictions you think if I got something wrong in the comments below. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you stick around, and I promise you won't regret it.